All right. Well, today we're going to be kicking off a series of videos that are really critical for you to understand. You see, we're going to be talking about credit score. What is a credit score? What's considered a good credit score? What are the advantages and disadvantages of having a stellar credit report? But before we start off, I need to go back into the memory bank for a little bit. And this conversation is something that I would not have been able to had even 3 years ago. You see, I've had my internal struggle with credit. And I think that by sharing my struggles, by being completely transparent, you're going to be able to learn something off of my mistakes. You see, and it all started for me when I was 18 years old. 18 years old, fresh out of high school. I got my first credit card. I had been banking with Wells Fargo for a few years. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird that a minor had a account through Wells Fargo, but I did. And I was qualified for my first credit card at, I want to say it was $1,000. And to me, this was like a rite of passage. It was like, damn, I'm a real adult now, I thought to myself. It's funny, thinking back, like I was like, this makes it official. I'm an adult. I'm a responsible adult. And when I received that approval, I remember thinking to myself, okay, Jesse, you use a credit card for emergencies only. I think I had heard that somewhere before. My financial education was very, very poor. I didn't understand how money worked, how to make money, what interest rates were, how credit cards made money. It's almost like, damn, that's pretty cool. They're just letting me borrow this money and I get reward points? Like, wow, Visa, thank you so much. MasterCard, you guys are really, really kind companies. And when I got approved for my first credit card, I said, Jesse, you use your credit card for emergencies only. Good in theory, right? That sounds good. However, the mistake that I failed to make was to clarify what an emergency was. You see, at that time, at 18 years old, I thought that if Nike was having a 40% off clearance sale, I thought that that was an emergency. I needed to have the latest shoes. I needed to have the newest gear. I didn't clarify and understand what a real emergency was. So I started ringing things up. Then a couple months went by and I was able to qualify for 2 more credit cards. So I think I had a total of about $5,000 worth of credit loaned to me. And I would just use it. And at first, what I would do is I would pay the entire balance of the credit cards before they were due. But what started happening little by little, and then right in hindsight, everything is so easy to look back and pinpoint the exact mistakes that you made. But little by little, I became unable to make the full payment. So I started making a little bit, less and a little bit less. Fast forward a year of this pattern continuing to reappear, I started struggling to make the minimum payment. So here I am, 19 years old, barely beginning my credit history, and I was already realizing that I was way, way in too deep. And this mistakes that I made at 18 and 19 years old would haunt me for over a decade. Haunt me by not being able to, I wasn't able to, buy a car. I wasn't able to, I'd always have to put a deposit down for utilities, to turn my electricity on, to turn my water on. I wasn't able to purchase a home for myself. I had to rely on other people and their credit in order to make purchases with real estate investments. I was a kid. I could not be trusted because they say, a credit score is a reflection of your credibility. And it's true. And I just kept sweeping it under the rug, pretending that if I just didn't open up the letters from the banks of people that I owed money to, that things were just going to go away. That if I just didn't pick up my phone from private or block calls or, area codes that weren't recognizable to me, that things were just going to get better. And I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Things were not going to get better until I looked at myself in the mirror, until I took personal responsibility for where I was at the moment. And I know a lot of you guys can relate. I'm a real estate agent here in Arizona, and I've run across, probably the biggest hurdle for my first-time home buyers is having lack of credit or having bad credit. But you see, after about a decade of suffering through, my credit score was 480, which is considered very, very poor by the three major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I was considered a high risk to borrow money. And then I became proactive. Then I started to learn. I started to study, watch videos on YouTube. And I started returning calls from creditors. I started opening up my mail. I started to face the thing that I had ran away from for over 10 years. Because I knew that this just could not continue. As a man, as the leader of a household, I could not continue to just pretend like things were okay. I started learning. I started educating myself. I started tinkering with things that I was using personally to see what worked and what didn't work. And I'm happy to report you guys that over the course of 1 year of me being proactive, I was able to raise my credit score from 480 to where I am presently at about 725. And I feel that my purpose, that the reason why I had to go through this struggle was to give me this knowledge that I can relay and I can share with the community around me. Because I can look you straight in the face and say, if you use the tactics, the strategies that I've used, it'll work for you as well. Like I mentioned, I'm a real estate agent here in Arizona. My benefit to helping you improve your credit is, hey, I want to get you and your family into a home. But by bringing you value, real know-how tips, not tactics that are just in theory, but things that I've done. I want to bring you value to earn the right to be the real estate agent you choose. Like I say, the agent you select really does matter. And I want to earn that right. So I'm going to invite you guys into this week's launch of all the things that I did to raise my credit score. It works. You have to do it. Trust me. Trust me. Lean in. Trust my process. And I will guide you to a better credit score for 2019 that's just going to launch you into 2020. You can do it. I was able to do it. And I can't tell you how great it is when I get my credit report pulled now. There's no shame. There's no embarrassment. I earned that credit score. And I am a credible person. And I can help you as well. So stand by. I'm going to be dropping another one. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts on future email or future videos. If you do